Let's go to Jack Cafferty. He's in New York with the Cafferty file. Michael Ware reports that the Iranian ambassador, with whom the U.S. ambassador sat down today, he's directly involved in these covert Iranian shipments of weapons to Shiite militias, among others. That's a pretty significant development.
Yeah, I would say that's significant. The other thing that I found interesting, you reported that President Bush mentioned al-Qaeda 95 times in his speech today. Did he also mention that there was no al-Qaeda in Iraq before the United States invaded that country?
He sort of said, some are complaining that there wasn't much of an al-Qaeda in Iraq before, but he sort of glossed over that point.
Oh, well, what a surprise. All right, on to other things. I wonder if we could get the Lindsay Lohan DUI arrest out of the teleprompter and put my script in it. Is that possible? Here's some, apparently it's not. Here's some encouraging news. Muslims around the world are increasingly rejecting suicide bombings and other violence in the defense of Islam. A new poll by the Pew Research Center, taken in 47 countries, found that in places like Lebanon, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Jordan, and Indonesia, the number of Muslims who see these attacks as justified has now dropped by half or more over the past 5 years. And it gets better. The survey also found there is now less support for Osama bin Laden in many of these countries, and growing numbers of Muslims in the Middle East and beyond are rejecting Islamic extremism. Now, the director of the Pew Center says that economic growth in some of these developing countries is encouraging people to become more satisfied with their personal lives and their own situations. It's not all good news, though. The survey shows 70% of Palestinians think suicide bombing against civilians can often be justified or sometimes can be justified. So the question is this: what does it mean if Muslims around the world are increasingly rejecting suicide bombings and Islamic extremism? Email CaffertyFile at CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile.
Wolf. Thank you, Jack. Jack Cafferty will be back later. Up ahead, shades of Vietnam as one Democratic candidate in last night's debate pulls no punches when counting the cost of the U.S. mission in Iraq. Mike Gravel's grim prediction in his own impassioned words. President Bush's No Child Left Behind program took a big hit from the Democratic presidential candidates last night. Today, a top Democrat defending the education blueprint. My interview with Senator Edward Kennedy. That's coming up this hour. And later, the new strategy against Iran. Several states now deciding to slow the country's cash flow. We'll explain what's going on. Stick around. You're in The Situation.